Welcome to the seventh fundamental lesson in our Fundamentals of Golf series. Today we're going to be talking about the downswing. Up to now, the six fundamentals have really got you to the point where you've got your setup correct and you're now at the top of the swing. So this lesson is where the rubber meets the road. My name is Les Ross, and I'm joined by my brother Craig Ross, who's coming to us from South Africa via Zoom. We are directors of golf at Highlander School of Golf. We've got a full agenda for you during this session. First of all, we're going to talk about the importance of the downswing elements. Then Craig's going to start off by focusing on the lower body transition phase, and the critical point of that is the weight shift. Then that's followed by how you do the upper body turn. And also another critical element is we talk about the hand lag. There's a common fault that all golfers do, which is called casting. And this is a sequence in the downswing that you don't want to do. And again, we'll go over that sequence just to give you a comparison between the casting and what the correct downswing sequence should be. And then the club head comes down to the contact point with the ball, which we call the club head release. And then finally, Craig will walk us through the follow through. So the importance of the downswing elements. Each of the downswing elements play a critical role in delivering a powerful, accurate, and consistent golf shot. And here's why they matter. We're going to be talking about weight shift towards the target. And this is one of the first things that you do in the downswing. And what that does is it ensures that the low point of the swing is actually in front of the ball. And what that helps you do is strike the ball ahead of the ground. So if you don't get to that position, you risk mishit shots. We then talk about the lead hip rotation, which occurs immediately after that shift. And what the lead hip does is it clears space for your arms to go through, but it also helps release the torque. We've talked about torque generation a lot in previous elements. And as you will know by now, that translates into clubhead speed and distance. The position of the trail elbow, we're also going to point that out for you because if it's in the correct position, it keeps the club head on the correct swing path. And then finally, you try to maintain a wrist hinge, what we call lag, and that releases energy at the appropriate stage of the downswing. So at the end of this, Craig kind of summarizes the magic of the strike, and he will give you some very simple sequence pointers there that define that. So I'll turn this over to Craig now.
Thanks, Les. Right, as Les says, here he's at the top of the backswing, and he's taken 6 elements to get there. And he's got lovely torque at the top of his backswing and that nice elastic feeling at the top. It's not tense, it's an elastic feeling, like the spring that we mentioned. So what's happening here? The first movement is a weight shift. Weight shift from the trail ankle to the lead foot into the ball of the lead foot. And that's followed by the lower body turn. Most people like to think from the right side or the trail side, the lower body turns. So you're shifting and turning. That's the critical part of generating momentum and releasing that torque into the golf ball, which is obviously the power and club head speed that we're looking for. So we'll go to the next stage, next slide. So like I said, you're just thinking shift and turn. You're not thinking about releasing anything at this particular stage. And this brings your arms down naturally to somewhere around these points that Les is showing you. So your lead arm comes down, and you also recognize you maintain the angle in your hinges. So you still got loaded up hinges. And the key point about releasing these hinges, you got to release it down the correct path. And that's what the trail elbow does. The trail elbow comes into your side naturally because of the shift and turn. The trail elbow comes into your side a lot easier. So it's like a cause and effect. And then you obviously release your hands from this point through the golf ball. And we'll have a little chat about that in the next slide. Now we're talking about the casting. Now, what we don't want to do is do the opposite to what we've just explained, to the lead arm more or less parallel, or let's say the hands just above hip height. What people do, because they're trying to hit the ball hard from the top of the swing, and what happens is the shoulders go first, upper body shoulders move first. And what happens then is you extend your trail arm, and that unhinges your hinges. And so there's a lack of power in the club face, speed in the club face, in that simple process. And you recognize there's no shift and there's no real turn in the lower body. So the club comes over and cuts across the golf ball, what we call over the top. Common problem for a lot of golfers, but more so from the beginner. So be conscious of this position. And you see the left-hand picture basically tells the story of what I've just said, and the right-hand picture tells the story of what we want you to do. And you recognize you don't see the trail elbow position. You can see there's fire in those hinges, and the right-hand side is still to fire through, and you can see the weight's been shifted to the lead foot. So there you are. So let's get to releasing these hands now. So we'll take the top left picture first. So once you've shifted and turned your lower body, your hands come down to a point just above your hip height. And this is where you start firing your hips at the golf ball. Sorry, no, you're firing not your hips, as well as the hips keep moving. Don't get me wrong, but start firing the hands at the golf ball. So much so that we get to the next picture, where you get to the striking area and you notice the hands are ahead of the club face, like we've explained in the elements, that you hit the ball first and then the ground. So that's all about that shift. But what I'm going to do now, go back to the top left picture, just to make you aware of the club face. There's a symmetrical movement from this club face. You see the club face is pointing to the camera in this position at the top left picture. You see it square in the next picture, hitting the golf ball. So there's a natural rotation. As your body rotates, the club rotates. And then obviously the bottom left-hand picture is that the club face is now pointing away from the camera. And you see there's a natural extension of your arms. So you've got to keep the structure of your arms to the hands at basically hip height. Again, you notice Les's hips are still moving, shoulders are caught up to his hips. And there it is to that point. Such a crucial part of the golf swing. And this is where the magic is. And you just got to think of simple things like shift, rotation, release. If you start to understand this element, this fundamental, it's such an important part of actually finding the magic of hitting the golf ball. And there it is. We're going to have a chat a bit further on from hip height and finishing up the follow through in the next slide. I'm going to make you aware of the ground first. So you look at Les's lead foot. You see how open that lead foot is. Now that helps him get his body through and his shoulders through into the follow through where he is right now. You will also find that when you rotate like this, the weight shifts from your ball of your lead foot into the ankle of your lead foot. Now, in fairness to Les, he spent a couple of years longer than he should be on the rugby field and introducing himself to the opposition, and he could be more flexible through the golf ball. So I'm really, if you are a flexible person, you've done your Pilates and you've done your yoga, you'll probably find that the belt buckle will not point down the feet line, but maybe point slightly left, and that also applies to the shoulder turn. If you point left, that's a good thing. Don't stop it, in other words. And you see his arms come up and fold over his lead shoulder. Just a little point to be half aware of to keep the structure in your arms. Get those elbows to point more or less, I'm saying more or less down towards the ground rather than out towards the horizon. And there it is. There's
Right.
the golf swing.
Yeah, I'll just want to add things, Craig. Just this little device that we've shown you before on the left here is called a balance board, and it will help you a lot in getting the sequence of the downswing and achieving that magic that we talk about, which is the weight shift, the turn, and release. So this balance board will help you with that weight shift. So when you shift your weight, you shift it from the trail foot to the lead foot. So that gets you in the correct position to where you're actually striking the ball ahead of the ground. And if you're using this board and you leave your weight on the trail foot, the position of the bottom of the swing is actually going to be behind the ball. And what that does then is that you're going to hit the ground first, or you're going to top the ball and miss hit it. So this is a very handy little practice aid, which if you're interested in picking one up, we have it on our products page at Highlander School of Golf. So that concludes the fundamental 7. We've got one more fundamental to go, and that's going to be on tempo, which is kind of helping you to tie all the movements together in a rhythmical timing. If you've enjoyed this lesson, please share it with your friends. And if you're coming to this lesson for the first time and you want to go through the series, the complete series, go to highlanderschoolofgolf.com and click on the lessons tab, and you can sign up for the complete series. The series is free. So once again, thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to working with you in the final session, which is on tempo.
And it's bye from me, and look forward to seeing you on the tempo.